Hello, welcome to another episode of Executive Suite. I'm Thomas Braun, your host, and today we have with us Candice Daisley from Three of Cups, which is a very interesting new company. Candice, can you please tell us about your company and what your mission is?
Yeah. So Three of Cups, which the shorthand is 3OC, is an app and a system for people to use to create mutual trust with one another if they're going to meet in person with someone who they've connected with online. So at this point, almost all new connections and opportunities are initiated in some way online, whether it's through a chat group, through a social media group, through a dedicated platform to meet people, through a DM. So there are going to continue to be more and more opportunities to connect with other humans on the internet. But it can be hard to know how you can verify and trust meeting someone in person. So we've created a system that creates mutual trust between the two people or more who are meeting in person.
Okay, so and why did you choose the name Three of Cups?
So, a fundamental part of how the system works is through cooperation and also through sharing things with your friends. So, not only do you share information with the person who you're meeting in person, you also share with your friends and family who you're going to meet and information about that. So, Three of Cups is a tarot card, and the meaning of the tarot card is about people celebrating accomplishments together, achieving things together. It's really about like celebrating and being in a part of things as a group. So the spirit of the card really matched the spirit of the app in the system.
Yeah, so it's a digital trust system. Okay, now um, one of the things I saw on your website, it says where users can control their identity, build a verified profile. How does that work? How do you, who's signing up for this? Just any individual?
Yeah, so the application is useful for so many different scenarios, and we don't actually lead or why you might be meeting up with somebody. So you could have met through, like I said, a DM. You could have met through a WhatsApp group where you do sell gig work or something like that. So we're talking about people who meet in person for dating or for friendship or also to run some type of a business. So people who have like a social profile where they book work through their social profile. So like models, photographers, makeup artists, real estate agents. So people who have like a very strong online presence. Maybe they have some type of a parasocial dynamic that they're dealing with, or also some businesses where you have like a social profile and then your contact information is there. So you're getting text messages or phone calls from strangers if you want to go then show a house to or book an appointment with, but you have no way of really knowing who you're talking to. You don't want to start that relationship with, I don't trust you. So here's a way that you can mutually coordinate trust with one another and also vice versa. So the people who are maybe engaging with the business person, they want to make sure that the person they're meeting is the actual person, not an impersonator, and that they can trust the scenario that they're meeting up in.
Okay. So how does that work? Like, let's say for example, we'll just start with the obvious example, like dating apps. Okay. What do dating apps do to verify people's identity?
It depends on the dating app, and every day I see a new dating app starting to try and get more and more niche or
Uh-huh.
whatever. So, I mean, part of the value proposition is that you use this no matter where you're meeting people because no one is only on a dating app, right? They're on a dating app and they're on Instagram and they're on Craigslist and they're on Facebook. So you would use this as a portable way to build trust before you meet people. If you're open to going on online dates through Tinder, you're probably also open to going to an online date through like an Instagram direct message.
Okay. So um, let's take this step by step. So let's say I've asked you out on a date. Okay, but you have no idea, okay, who's this guy? He looks okay and everything, but how do I know any of this is true?
Mhm. So when you build your profile in the app, you select, I mean, we encourage people to verify as many credentials as possible. So your government ID, biometric, social media profiles, your phone number. Um, and then that is all verified in the system, but it's not shared with the other person. So the other person can see, okay, they've verified all this information about themselves. If you want that person to share specific information with you, you can request that and vice versa. So instead of getting someone's entire identifying information, you might just want to know their first name and their age. So you can customize how much you share with the other person, if anything at all, and vice versa. So there's like a ton of customization for the information that's shared back and forth. This might get more relevant for like real estate or people buying and selling on marketplaces where you want to verify that the address that you're going to is actually an address and actually belongs to the person who you're meeting. Like I've heard of people being sent to fake addresses and stuff after getting deposits and things like that. So you would verify that the address belongs to the person who you're meeting with, and then they would share that with you.
Right. Scams where somebody is renting out the same apartment to 5 people and he doesn't even own it.
Yeah, yeah. Or I've heard of people like getting sent to like taking a deposit for like a nail appointment and then being sent to a totally fake address. So they went spent all that time actually traveling and getting in. It's like there's nothing here.
Okay. So in getting back to our little case study here. Okay. So I've direct message you or we're on a dating app or whatever. And I say, "Oh, you want to meet for coffee?" And you say what? Like, uh, can you please go to Three of Cups and get verified? Because I only date
Yeah.
verified people. What
Yeah.
what would the woman say in that case?
The woman would say, I would open my Three of Cups app. I would generate a personalized link that I would
Hmm.
send to you. The
Hmm.
link is good for 24 hours. At that point, you're prompted to either log in if you're already a user or to sign up if you're not. And then that will connect us individually in the app so that I can now see that you're a verified credentials and vice versa. So it is a personal, direct, one-time link that you'll get to connect with me. Then once I feel comfortable meeting you in person, I also set up the details of the meetup. We call those IRLs. So anytime anyone's meeting someone in person, we call it an IRL. So you set up the IRL, the timing, the location we're meeting, and I invite my mom and my best friend to join in as backup so they know that I'm gonna go meet you. And they know where I'm going, and they know what I want them to do if they get a push notification that I need their support. So it's like, call me an Uber to this address, come get me, come give me a phone call, so that there's personal instructions to people who you already do know and trust, and then so people know that you're going to meet up with somebody.
Yeah, I would think that this is actually really important for younger people who are dating because you're dating people who have not really built up much of a professional profile yet. So if somebody is, a partner at an accounting firm, every business now has a website. You can see their names and their pictures, and you can see, oh, this person's been an accountant for 20 years. Um,
Yeah,
Probably not too much to worry about there. But with younger people, especially like if you're, like 19, 20, 21, you haven't even graduated from college yet, there's really not much on those people. They don't work anywhere. So there's really the only information you have on them is self-generated, their own Facebook page or whatever they're on. Okay.
yeah,
But it's not generated by a third party, like a law firm or a company that is kind of verifying that, well, yeah, this person is our vice president or CFO. So,
yeah. They have a digital presence, but the other element is that a lot of people online use some type of a persona or alias. Like that's
mm,
becoming more and
for
more common.
privacy, right?
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I
Hmm.
almost see it as like a creative expression, people creating these other identities for themselves. So maybe I'm presenting myself a different way than you would even be able to find on LinkedIn. And I think it's okay to sometimes keep those separate until you actually have met the person and you can choose the pace that you get to know each other. Like, I don't think that people doing like all the Google searching and stuff is actually creating good foundations for relationships. If you're if you're talking about like the dating scenario, um, I think that's actually created like some weird dynamics when people start like Googling people and trying to do their own kind of like background research.
Hmm.
It's not a good organic way
Right.
to actually connect with each other.
Right. Because you're starting off with suspicion essentially
Yes.
as your I don't know, is suspicion, what is that? Is that it's just a state of mind, I guess. It's not
Yeah.
really an emotion.
Kinda goes 2 ways. I've seen it like yeah, it's either like a paranoid suspicion or it's like they make up a whole fantasy about this person, like, they're no matter what, they're putting a story together through things that they can find online, and it's not the best way to get to know somebody, honestly.
Right. And not everybody's a white collar worker and is on LinkedIn.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
you
And
know?
I mean, one of the core uses that I'm targeting is the informal gig economy and people who use social profiles and different identities and things like that online. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And your point about, real estate
Yeah,
agents,
it's
is a good one because there are lots of cases, like a lot of real estate agents are female. I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of them are, probably more than half. And you're in a situation where you're meeting a stranger in this house, typically by yourself, and it could, it's a little bit scary, I guess. And then you also have just people who they might be working in the other person's home. Like if you're a nurse, occupational therapist, or you just do like
yeah, yeah,
housework or whatever. So this can be scary situations too.
yeah. And when you're receiving business prospects through like anonymous text messages and stuff, the person sending that text message doesn't feel like they could be perceived as threatening, right? Because they're human sending that text message, but the person receiving it, like, I have no information to read who you are. The last thing you want to do is start a business relationship by being like, I don't trust being alone with you, right? So you want something that can like in like a gentle way
Hmm.
facilitate the trust, right? Without being like, I think I'm scared of this, because like that's not a great way to start a business relationship.
Yeah. So I can tell you that as a lawyer, like you would think that frauds and criminals, maybe they want to stay away from lawyers, but they don't. They actually are targeting law firms and lawyers all the time with various types of phishing scams where they're trying to get information ultimately about your trust account, where lawyers keep their retainers and they use these trust accounts to settle real estate transactions or commercial transactions, if they're acting as an escrow agent. So you'll get emails, like if you're a corporate lawyer, you might get emails from somebody saying, "Oh, well, we're going to do a major sale with a company in your jurisdiction, and we're looking for a lawyer to represent us." And that's just one example, but it would be interesting if this sort of thing, I guess, could potentially expand
Yeah.
one day. And where are most of your customers coming from? Are they coming from Canada or the United States?
We have pilot groups, communities right now in Canada, Nigeria, and Mexico. Um, Before we go into like, I actually want to add something about the future kind of vision that's related to receiving kind of like unsolicited communication
Yeah,
people. So, okay, so at the end of every IRL meetup, all the parties who met in person receive a push notification asking if they met the person they were expecting to meet, right? Not like, did you check your ID, but everything went as expected. And then that gets recorded. And now you have, every time you meet people, that adds to the number of people who have socially met you in person, who are most likely a stranger, and then that's a very strong proof of identity and proof of personhood, because they're being verified by strangers, and you can accumulate that. So the more you use it, now over time, when people have done that a lot, now you could use that to prove your humanity or your personhood online.
okay. Now, so you said Nigeria and Mexico.
Yes.
Okay, so what are the connections with Nigeria and Mexico? Why did you go there?
So these are places where people actually, there were community members who heard about the company and the project and reached out to me and were like, I want to get involved and help um, create community around this, move this vision forward. So they found me in one way or another. Like, uh, I spent actually a lot of time in Mexico, so I have some community there. And then Nigeria, it was someone who I connected with online.
Neat. Okay. So, and now when they're setting up, you're talking about communities. So when they're setting up a community here, is it sort of centered around a major city, or is it the whole country?
It's um, kind of regional, so we don't actually know that everyone is in the same city, but we're in WhatsApp groups, and then they all kind of, like, culturally or, like, regionally are in the same place.
Okay. And how does your company generate revenue? I'm guessing you charge a fee for the service.
Yeah, we will be charging fees. It'll be you can access it for free if you need to from time to time because we don't want to put a complete barrier to people who need it, like in a situation for safety. But if you're using it all the time, then there's going to be a fee structure. But this is all blockchain enabled, so there's going to be tokens and rewards and sort of like testing different types of microtransactions and new digital economy structures.
Okay. So that's an interesting angle there. Now, because I did see that on your website, and I was kind of wondering, how does it involve blockchain?
So in blockchain, you have this concept called zero knowledge proof, which is a way that you can cryptographically or mathematically and with cryptography verify that something is true without revealing the information to the other person. So using zero knowledge identity verification, zero knowledge credentials, and then also, yeah, recording certain information on a private blockchain so that you can have like a record of things that are happening, but just selectively.
I see.
Yeah, yeah,
So that it kind of makes it almost impossible for people to hack or to falsify their credentials. Then,
that's right. And we don't store their, I like we won't have like a server with a whole bunch of photos of IDs anywhere that doesn't exist.
okay, that's interesting. Um, so, and how long has your company been around?
I started working on kind of the idea of it in 2022, launched a web app last year, 2023, and then this year launched the iOS version of the app,
Okay, so now last year would be 2024. Did you?
2024, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's about 1 year old
Yeah,
online.
but
The,
but
the
but
app.
yeah, so the web app was very much like a prototype that we were testing. So
Yeah.
the actual like
Okay.
commercial product has been launched for about 3 months.
3 months. Okay. So
Yeah,
that was a kind of a beta for the first
yeah.
several months. All right. And and how are you planning on scaling this up? You're talking about building communities. Um, how are you going to reach out to consumers and get them to start using your product?
Yeah, so there's going to be a ton of trust building with the public. People need to trust the product
Hmm.
more than they trust the person that they're meeting, right?
Hmm.
So getting a tons of visibility, but it is built with social network effects as a growth strategy. So the users are inviting other users, and so getting a lot of growth and traction that way. Um, yeah, but being as visible as possible, partnering with micro communities online and different platforms and stuff who have a meetup element to it. Someone I'm working with sent me a report that talked about the rate of growth with B2C is actually more likely to become a unicorn or hit billions of users because of the social growth potential on online because of social networks versus like the sales cycles that you go into when you're reaching out to companies individually that might take 6 months to a year to close each one, but then you have
Hmm.
access to their customers, but so it's
Hmm.
going to be both, honestly.
Hmm. Okay. So now, is there anything else you wanted to go over before we start to wrap this up?
Um, no, I think that
Can we?
captures it. Like we're actually uploading right now a whole bunch of videos onto our social media. So you'll see how the UX works. It is sort of a new concept. So people are like, conceptually it makes sense, but how do we actually use it? So have a video series that'll be on YouTube, on Instagram, so you can check out how it works. And then sign up, download it if you have an iPhone and you use I and then if you have any other questions, you can DM us on social media. We're pretty easy to get a hold of, and we can get everyone set up with an account.
Yeah. So you're focusing on Instagram and YouTube, huh? Are you on TikTok or
Not on
X or
TikTok. We're
anything
on
else?
X, yes, X, LinkedIn, Instagram. Instagram's kind of our main account that we use right now.
Interesting. Okay. And is there a reason for that, or is that you only have so many hours in the day?
Yeah.
Okay. So and you've got all these different social media platforms, and you mentioned WhatsApp. WhatsApp is sort of growing from, they're trying to expand from being just a messaging app to more of a social media app, and expanding their functionality? Or is there some reason why you decided to use Instagram
Yeah.
rather
I
than
think
others?
Instagram's just the platform that I'm personally the most comfortable with and spend the most time on.
Hmm.
I like being able to express through like images and shorter videos, but not necessarily the whole video medium is like not something I've spent a lot of time working in. So I need a little bit of time to get comfortable with that. But I love being able to post images with captions. Like I feel like I'm able to express a lot in that format.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and thanks for sharing. And the website is www.3oc.world to find out more about this. And
Yep.
I think it's really something that is really important for the day we're living in now, but also for the future, as relationships quite often, like you said, are starting online virtually.
Yes, definitely. Like I see a very long future and like only more and more utility and more value. So it's really an honor to be working on this. Uh it's been yeah, it's I'm really excited about it.
Okay. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll wrap this up. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.